morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining me here. I'm Lei Pan, Manager HR Analytics at Shell. So today, very happy to share with you Shell's journey in using people analytics to drive strategic directions and improve employee experience. Before we move further, so a small disclaimer here. So even though part of my job is really predicting the future, but what I'm saying today here should not be used to guide your investment decisions. If you do so, Shell and I cannot be held responsible for that. Most of you know Shell, so we're a global business. I think you have an idea what we do. What I want to emphasize here is really we have a very diverse workforce. So think about the very technical employees in our exploration, development, and extraction business, and then also very commercially oriented employees in our trading, in our sales and marketing. So it's a very diverse workforce that really gives a big business value for HR. External literature has shown that skilled people multiplied by high motivation and multiplied by opportunity to really contribute, right? So that together they accounts for about 27% of financial outcomes and 22% of operational outcomes, right? It's a really big business value there. What is the people analytics role in this 27% and 22% of financial and business outcome? So this is how I see it. In HR, we have systems, we have processes, and then of course in the business we have many non-HR processes. Think about sales processes, right? So they all generate data. The purpose of generating those data is often not to do analytics, but really to support the processes. And then on top of that, we have HR strategy and also business strategy, right? So the role of people analytics or HR analytics is really in the middle layer, the yellow layer you see here, right? So the processes generate data, and HR analytics, people analytics use that data to do analytics reporting. We generate insights and solutions, and those insights and solutions will really drive business and HR decision making. We provide evidence insights to drive business and HR decision making, HR and business strategy. And on the other hand, we feed back those insights and solutions to HR and non-HR processes in order to make sure that in order to improve the processes to make them more effective and efficient. That's really where we see the role of people analytics. So our role is really not to replace intuition, experience, or beliefs our HR and business colleagues already have with their years of experience working with our employees. No, that's not our role. Our role is really to support a transition towards evidence-based HR. We provide insights, evidence that strengthens, but also put narratives on, put boundaries on the narratives our colleagues derive from their intuition, experience, and beliefs. We really provide insights, evidence to support decision making when it's about people, right? This is no easy work, so it's not just coding, building an algorithm, and then it gives some results, and that's it, right? So it's not that easy. It's not an algorithm that will just simply generate millions of dollars. It really involves a lot of stakeholder buy-in, right? Business buy-in, involves high-level sponsorship, involves the right data, right analysis, address the right business question, and also involves really turning insights into actions, into the right actions, and change and engagement in order to really and let insights really drive business value there and create business value in there. So it's not easy work. In Shell, we spent about 15 years to get to where we are today. So really starting from data cleaning up, standardizing reporting, building up the advanced HR analytics, people analytics team, and also really get the business buy-in more. So our requests are less of a push, but also more and more that we get pull into tables of when strategic decisions are made. We collaborate, build our collaboration with other functions. We extend our methodology in data science and incorporate that in the people analytics portfolio. So that's including the NLP methodologies that I will talk a little bit more later, and also really also about integration with our organizational development colleagues, and with them, through them, we work directly with business to understand the business question, right? To make sure that we address the right business question, and work with them to really manage change and engage, and that's really crucial for the success. Next, I want to talk a little bit about, so I talked about in high level, right, how it works, what the journey is like, how do you build a people analytics function, how can you make that a success? And I think then I want to use the next, say, 15 minutes, really talk about, let's say, 2 examples, how you understand business question, how you how you try to answer that question with the right analysis, and how you make sure that the analysis you do actually eventually turn into something that's really create business value, adds business value, right? So the topic I've been choosing is about NLP. So how do we use natural language processing methodology in people analytics? We can imagine that there's a lot of data, right? A lot of unstructured text data in HR. So think about in talent, we have individual development plan, we have talent cards if your company use Workday, and that's basically internal CV. In performance, we have performance goals, we have performance summary. In recruitment, we have for employees and contractors, we have job descriptions, right? So job titles, job descriptions, that all tells something about our employees and contractors. Learning, we have assessment, so we have course evaluation. In operations, we have the order requests people send to our HR advice, right? So when they have a question about HR, so HR advice is the first line support to our employees and line managers. And then we have open text in surveys, we have questions people ask in webcast, we have interviews, interview scripts, we have coaching scripts, we have many other data that we are maybe not even aware of. But however, that's not where we start, right? So sometimes people come to us and say, hey, we have a lot of data, can you derive some insights from there? And then I would sweat, right? Like I don't know what to do with it. So and we would then really educate our stakeholders a little bit, right? Like, what is your question, right? What do you want to know? What's the business question behind it? So I want to give one example that how we really use analytics to address business questions, and the business case is really about reskilling and upscaling, right? So if you read PwC actually says that there is really a large, for the whole society, there is a large potential for GDP. There's a large GDP potential really due to upscaling. And the difference between if you do upscaling, the yellow line, and if you do not do upscaling, the blue line is getting larger and larger. Deloitte also says in their report the half-time of skills is rapidly falling, placing a really huge demands on learning in the digital age. McKinsey predicts about in 2017 about 14% of the global workforce would have to switch occupations or acquire new skills by 2030 because of automation and artificial intelligence. So in Shell, in February, we announced our new strategy, and we had our strategy day for employees, really explaining what the Powering Progress strategy is. And so there will be a priority shift from some business to others. So how do data analytics, HR analytics, right, really support this strategy, right? So support shall implement this strategy. So one key topic is really skills, right? So what are the skills available in Shell, right? Do we have the right skills in Shell in order to serve the strategy? What is our strengths? What are the gaps? And also for our employees, right? Can we understand, if we talk about reskilling, upskilling our employees, can we understand the skills adjacency and the skills similarity of the skills of different positions of different employees, right, in order to do reskilling and upscaling? That's why so the people analytics team kicked off a project really to look into if we can systematically understand people's skills from our existing data, right? We have a lot of data that tells something about my skill. For example, my internal CV and all the jobs I've done in the past, right? So it tells something about my skill. But if you really want to systematically say that what is Lei's skill, how different is my skills compared to my colleague's skill, to what extent I can be upskilled to his or her position, and that we haven't built up that data foundation yet. So that's something we are really building up, and really to in order to support the strategy implementation. To just give an example of the results, in order to give a little bit of sense, like how does it look like? So we looked at 9 different skill pools. If you look at the charts, skill pool is the way Shell manages people in terms of learning and the development. So, for example, all the data scientists would belong to the same skill pool, no matter where they sit in the organization. So then they would follow similar learning and training there. So we looked at 9 different skill pools and looked at 10 different more fundamental skills, and then so we see like how many people, how many positions in, how many people in that skill pool, how many positions in that skill pool actually have the 10 different fundamental skills. And then we see some patterns, right? For example, technical design. That seems to be a strength of Shell, right? No matter in which skill pool, we see that it's quite strong there. And then if we look at more data competency, and then we see in many of the skill pools, it seems to be a bit lower, right? So that might be an area that can potentially have a gap there, right? So, and then the next step is really to understand so if data competency is a gap, right? How do we what are the adjacent areas where people can be easily upskilled or reskilled into data competency skill, right? So that will be the next step, right? In order to support reskilling and upskilling. That's the first example I want to share with you, and so it's really related to upscaling, reskilling, you building up a data foundation in order to support the implementation of that for our learning and talent colleagues. If you remember the formula I had at the beginning, right? So it's about skilled people, and it's also about high motivation, right? So and then we need to have skilled people, but people need to need to be engaged, need to be motivated in order to really really perform well, right, in the company. So it's important that we understand people's employee engagement, employee experience in a company, and that's where people analytics can really support, right? So give two small examples, a small analysis we did, and hope to give a little bit of inspiration how people analytics can really support here. The first example is what we did with remuneration. Remuneration, every year they do communication to our employees to help employees understand remuneration related topics. I know how much I earn every month, but do I really understand how my pension is built up, right? What's my share plan? How is that built up? Not everybody knows that, right? So, and then remuneration really use those communication to try to bridge those knowledge gap, right? So to help employee understand the different topics related to remuneration. But then the question is, where is the knowledge gap, right? What do our employees want to know, right? People analytics, so my team, we helped analyze all the text related to the requests sent to HR device related to remuneration. And then it's a simple topic modeling, so you do need to do a little bit of language detection there. But after that, it's a rather simple topic modeling exercise. But the insights are very useful, right? We see that pension, share plan, these are the topics that people ask a lot. So that really helped to guide the communication strategy of our remuneration department. Second small example I want to share with you is sentiment analysis we did on our CEO's webcast. So what the questions asked CEO's webcast. So last year, well, I think we will agree that it was a difficult, strange year. So many engagements from our senior leaders took place with our employees, right? So and we as a people analytics team helped to understand really what are the questions. So people submit the questions anonymously to those webcasts. So a people analytics team helped to understand what's in people's mind, what kind of questions people ask, right? What are the topics related to those questions? And also, are they positive and negative? In order to really get a sense what is on people's mind, where is the area that Shell as a company can do more, right, in order to improve our employee experience. Okay, so that's the examples I want to share with you. I hope this session gives you a bit of inspiration idea how we can use people analytics to really drive business strategy and improve employee experience. Maybe to summarize that, just a few takeaway points. I think it's important to really strive a balance between demand-driven and strategy-driven people analytics, right? So most often that's we do analysis because there's a demand from the business, right? There's a real business question there, right? So we do the analysis, we try to help our business address that question. But there are also times that we need to look a little bit further, right? So what's the strategic direction our company HR is going, and do we have the more fundamental data analytics infrastructure in order to serve the business strategy in the future, right? So we really need to have a balance there, right? To do that, we need to really collaborate with the business to understand both shorter term, really demand-driven questions and also longer term strategy. Second, I think there is often a little bit of a misunderstanding, thinking that people analytics, actually it's a little bit scary, right? They do analysis and then they also really they will lead to something that we don't know, right? So there's also a little bit of a perception on that. I think it's important to really understand our role in the company, right? So our role is to provide data evidence for decision making, but we don't make decision ourselves. We provide that to HR, to the business, in order to support decision making there. And the insights is really not equivalent to actions, right? So before you turn insights into actions, it's important that you do a consultation and really understand the business context and what is what are the best option, the right option, not the best, the right option to take, right? Using your insights, and that's important. And then, last but not least, I think we do not do analysis because we want to do analysis. We do an analysis in order to drive change, to drive the way we do things, right? To drive change in the way we do things. So that's key to really have that in mind. And then that means that we should have a whole change and engage plan in place when we start doing analysis, and we should really integrate change management at the early stage of the whole data analytics project. Okay, so that's all I would like to share with you today. Thanks a lot for joining.